Hello and welcome back to Math in 5 Minutes with me, Miss Wodzinski. Today's topic is solving proportions. Let's get right into it. So proportions are sets of equal ratios. So I describe them as one fraction set equal to another fraction. So for example, we could have A over B is equal to C over D, or using real numbers, 1 over 2, 1/2, is equal to, or it's the same as 4 over 8, which is also equal to 1/2. Now, most of the time, you are going to need to solve using a proportion for a missing variable. So we're going to look at examples like that. So our first example looks like this. We have the proportion 9 over 3 is equal to x over 4. And the way we solve these proportions is always starting the same way, which is by cross multiplying. So you should take the top of one fraction and multiply it by the bottom of another fraction, and then do the same thing with the other two parts. So we would need to do 9 times 4, which would be equal to 3 times x. Then you go ahead and simplify that. So 9 times 4 is 36, and 3 times x is 3x. And then you're just left with a one-step equation to solve. So you need to divide on both sides by 3, so we can cancel out the 3 in front of the x, and you are left with 12 equals x. So if we put the 12 in where x is, we would have two equivalent ratios. We would have 9 over 3 is equal to 12 over 4. And both of those, if we simplified them, would actually be equal to 3 over 1. So we know that we solved it correctly. Now, sometimes the proportion is going to be a little bit more challenging than that, a little more complicated. So let's take a look at a level 2 proportion here. Okay, so we have this example right here. So now we have 10 over p plus 2 is equal to 4 over 3. We're still going to start this off the exact same way. We're going to go ahead and cross multiply. So multiply the bottom of one fraction times the top of the other, and then vice versa. But we need to remember that the 4 needs to be multiplied by everything on the bottom of the other fraction, so the p plus 2. So I like to put those in parentheses to remind myself that we need to multiply both of those. So our first step after we cross multiply would result in this equation here. 4 times p plus 2 equals 10 times 3. We can go ahead and simplify by doing two things. We can go ahead and distribute there, and then also simplify the 10 times 3, which would leave us with 4p plus 8 equals 30. Then we continue to solve this equation. This is a two-step equation, which we solve the same way every time. You always add or subtract first. In this case, we need to subtract 8 on both sides and then simplify. So that cancels there. And it leaves us with 4p equals 22. And then you need to divide, because we need to cancel out the 4 in front of the p. We need to undo it. So we're left with 22 divided by 4. That's a decimal, or you could simplify the fraction. I'm going to show you both ways. So if you simplified the fraction 22 over 4, you would have 11 over 2. Or if you wanted to leave your answer as a decimal, it would be 5.5. Either way, if you plug that back in to your proportion, you would be left with two equivalent ratios. So that's it. That's a very quick explanation of how you can solve proportions with unknown variables. As always, happy learning.